All right, let's talk about Dawn to Dawn.
Okay. What this episode 3.
Yeah.
What happens this episode?
So this episode is all about, it's like the introduction of Psycho Isa.
Yeah.
The grandmother who nobody knows the age of.
Yeah.
It's Momo's grandmother. It's basically a setup episode for Momo and Okarun to battle against Turbo Granny.
Yeah.
And it's fun. I mean, like, you know, it does a good job of building out the lore of the universe. It's like, oh, you know, I like that they go like a little bit into the explanation of like, hey, my powers work because I tap into the kami of this area. And like, she's like, so the goal is always to play the home games. She's like, never play an away game as a psychic because you lose your powers outside of your city.
She has jurisdiction, which is weird.
Imagine if she didn't.
Yeah.
Imagine if she was just powerful everywhere. That'd be broken.
Like every other anime character ever.
I guess, but like, that's not this universe, baby. We're getting realistic.
Yeah. I love, so last week, you were like, you're going to meet a real hot grandma. She's not hot.
Okay.
But holy shit, like, stop shopping at Goodwill with your eyes closed.
What do you mean?
Her outfits are fucking insane.
Her outfits are, she's always wearing like a waist belt and she's always got her hands in her like waist belt. And then she's wearing like the eye cover thing. That I don't fully understand either.
She looks like in the scene where they're like, Ken has to like go to the bathroom. She's dressed like a white trash Orochimaru.
She kind of is.
Yeah.
You need, like, the more you spend time with Psycho Isa, you're just like, oh, this is a white trash woman. Like, absolutely. She's just pulling up, smoking cigarettes, drinking, hanging out, like, just being like, you fucking that boy? You fuck that boy in my house, I'm gonna beat your ass.
Yeah, tapping that. Also, simply put a bucket in the anti-granny room. Just give him a toilet.
The easiest layup of all time, but then you wouldn't have your really fun 3-person race to the toilet for some reason that Psycho Isa is involved in. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, everyone's just like, no, like, I've read the manga, I've watched the anime, I still to this day don't understand why they all race there. I don't get it.
Just let the boy poop.
Just let the boy poop.
Yeah. Go on.
No, you.
I like her weapon.
The baseball bat pencil thing? Yeah.
Big doodle bob energy.
How do you feel about the character designs in this story?
Love Turbo Granny.
Okay.
His demon form, we've talked about, I feel like looks like Eustace from Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I just cannot believe you don't like it. It's literally so sad.
I never said that. I said I like it. I don't like it as much as Turbo Granny.
That makes no sense to me.
Turbo Granny's so cool.
Yeah, but so is giant teeth.
I guess that's all it is.
I'm always gonna love giant teeth.
I guess.
That's what I'm always saying. The Titan that killed Aaron's mom, my favorite character in AOT.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Every other. Oh, what about Car Titan though? Big teeth.
That's a logical retort.
Fat
That's the
teeth.
kind of energy you need to bring into our anime debate boxing match.
Yeah.
That right there. Then I'm gonna be like, I have to kill him in the next round. Like, you shut me down like that, I'm gonna put your lights out. I'm not really starting to fight until I sense I'm losing the debate, honestly. If you hit me with some fucking gigabrain level fucking debate strategy, I'm putting you out of your misery.
Oh no, yeah, the first two like boxing rounds, you're like really going soft. It's like a sparring match. Mm-hmm. I hit you with like a galaxy brain like move in the debate. I see the spark go in your eye, and then you're just wailing on me like an angry gorilla.
Down. Yeah.
Like, you're doing air combos.
Yeah.
Like, the character designs are all like fine so far. There's nothing like the grandma's cool enough. Love her weapon again. Sumo was fine. It's just Turbo.
The Flatwoods monster. That's what the sumo is. The Flatwoods monster.
Turbo Granny's the only like unique design so far.
Yeah. So we talked about this briefly on the pod last week, and I want to talk about it again because I've been rereading the manga. If the idea of these girls being in a state of undress makes you uncomfortable, boy, oh boy, is this not going to be the anime for you.
Oh, yeah?
I forgot, like, how, because I reread through the entirety of Dawn to Dawn. I started reading it a couple of years ago when it came out, and I haven't reread it since. And so, like, I'm probably stopped around chapter 100, and, like, so that's as far as I've gotten, which is far beyond what this season will cover. I just forgot how often, like, Momo and then another girl who's of similar age, Ira, show up, and they're just always, it's either, like, an upskirt shot, like, they're always wearing skirts, and then they're always flying around kicking, and then it's like, boom, panty shot. But then there's also just scenes where they're like, oh no, it's we're swimming, you can't wear your clothes, and then there's like time to strip, and it's like if the idea of these girls being in a state of undress makes you uncomfortable, then it's not gonna be the anime for you, and I'm feeling weird about it.
Yeah.
I'm feeling weird about it because here I am.
It's starting to weigh on you.
Well, because here's the thing. I'm reading the manga, and there's so many good things about the manga. There's so many good things about the manga, Danny.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's got a ton of character. The romance aspect between Okarun and
Ken?
and Okarun and Momo is really nice and touching. And then I'm just like, fuck. It's kind of like how people talk about Fire Force. They're like, oh, Fire Force is fantastic. I adore Fire Force.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, we get fan service of Tamaki. And she's just like falling out of her clothes. And I'm like, oh, the POV switches and like the manga is so beautifully drawn. And then it's just like 16-year-old in lingerie. And I'm like, oh, you were doing so good.
Yeah, it's like if only this one aspect just wasn't in it, it'd be perfect.
And that's why I don't think Dandadan will ever, like people are like, oh, Dandadan's the next JJK. I don't think it will be.
Yeah, I was gonna disagree, but yeah,
because JJK doesn't have that mark against it.
no, I mean, no, not in the way this does,
No.
for sure. I mean, because I was gonna disagree, but a lot of people, when I reacted to the first episode, and I posted TikToks about it, so many people were like, yeah, I'm done after this one. Like, this was too much.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a hard opening, too. If they saved it for episode 10 or something,
Yeah.
they'd have more of a chance of pulling
They're
in
kind of just
a
setting
bit.
the standard because, like, for at least the first 25 chapters, it pretty much just revolves around, like, these kids borderline getting essayed. Like,
Yeah.
there's a similar thing happens to Okarun that happens to Momo, like, chapter 20-ish.
It's funny because a lot of people will be like, oh, nobody actually cares about that and this and that. If you think of all of the most popular anime,
Yeah.
they're not this pervy.
They're not, dude, like Naruto has its moments, it's got its sexy jutsu moments, like, but like it's also like these are like if you're talking about anime, like the most popular anime of today,
Yeah.
I would say are unfortunately Mushoku Tensei, which does do this, but
That's true. I'm immediately wrong.
we have to play like the things like the thing is
That's
there's
tough.
still sides to this argument in anime. Though.
I was thinking
There's
of,
the side that doesn't care, there's the side that likes it, and then there's the side that does care.
but Mushoku Tensei, I'm talking about like mainstream in America.
Yeah.
The country that matters.
Yeah.
Where like JJK,
Chainsaw Man.
more Attack on Titan's like the biggest one we had.
Yes.
Like most recently. Like Attack on Titan was way bigger than
Bleach,
JJK
no.
in America.
Yeah, Bleach isn't. Listen, Orihime's character design is wild. I'm not gonna get like it is absolutely wild, but it's not like stripping
Oh,
characters
people are
down.
boobing for sure.
Oh, people.
Yeah.
Tite Kubo, like it's like the Tite
Yeah. You texted.
Kubo.
I've been reading Bleach, and we'll get into it because it'll be my best boy probably. But I've been reading Bleach, and I texted you, and I was like, the way I'm just in love with Rukia.
Yep.
And you texted me back saying, yeah, Tite Kubo can draw the hell out of the
Oh,
woman.
dude, Tite Kubo can draw the fuck out of a woman. Wait till you get to Renkiku.
Putting the name Tite Kubo in any sentence fucking destroys the foundation of that sentence.
Syllably, it's a tough word. Syllably.
Yeah,
Syllablistically.
Syllabistically.
It is not a word, but if you said it to a dumb person, they'd probably believe you.
I liked it. So what's that saying about me?
Oh boy, buddy, do I have news?
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, I was thinking like Attack on Titan, no perviness whatsoever.
Yeah.
JJK, like a little sprinkled every now and then, but like it's not like this. And Mushoku Tensei isn't that. It's not like you don't go into like a store in America and see Mushoku Tensei merch.
You go into like an anime store and you'll find it or something.
Yeah, but not into like a Loungefly, a Hot Topic, a Walmart, and there's the posters. Like,
I think genuinely the anime community is split into 4 quadrants exactly. And it's kind of like strongly disagrees, lightly agrees, lightly, like strongly agrees.
Yeah.
And it's like fucking people under 18 should not be sexualized. And it is literally 25, 25, 25,
Yeah.
25. I would say the bottom quadrant is why the Mushoku Tensei fandom is so fervently because it's like everybody in that quadrant is like, this is the greatest anime of all time. And then the other, like the 25% of people at the top quadrant are like, we're not watching that shit.
Yeah.
And Dandadan, for me, falls right into that lightly agrees quadrant where I'm like, I don't like that it's being used. Nothing ever really happens of substance, but I don't like that these situations are happening. I think there's a better way. Like, you can genuinely write so many other scenarios these kids could fall into, but there's so many, and this is why I feel as though this is like, because I fall anywhere between, like, I fall into the top quadrant, and so, like, because it's in the light quadrant, it makes me feel a little ucky, but there's so many great things about the story that I adore. And I feel like this is how people feel about Mushoku Tensei when I shit on it, because they're like, you don't understand how good the world building is, how great the characters are, you understand Rudy's like development. And I'm like, I do. I've read most of it, and I still don't enjoy it.
I mean, at least with Dandadan, it's a different case from Mushoku Tensei, where like with Dandadan in Japan, he's doing nothing wrong. Like, because the age of consent. So it's like, it'd be as if they were an American.
And they were 18,
And they were 18. He's still putting them in like overtly like sexual scenarios too often. Like, that's definitely weird. But with Mushoku Tensei, there's like, the main character's like essaying people and their children.
And they're 12.
Yeah, it's like.
And his cousin.
It's a bunch of weird.
And everyone's like, listen, the times. Right? This happened all the time. It's like, so, and also people got lit on fire. Like, what are we talking about?
Exactly. It's like, there's more, like, you don't need as many concessions when talking about Dandadan. It's just like, it's like, their culture is different. It's too much, but like, fine. Mushoku Tensei, it's like, morally, I feel like I shouldn't be watching this.
It just makes me feel gross. Like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, I get that your world building is fantastic, but like, the show makes me feel gross.
But anyway, with Dandadan.
Love
the grandmother's weapon. I love a multi-use weapon. She uses it in such a sick way.
The circles in the nails is sick.
Well, not even just that. Yes, I do love that. I love the strategy of you're bashing your opponent with this metal bat, and then when you give them a second to breathe, you're drawing the circle. So it's truly relentless. Like, even they can either get beat up or they can take a break, in which case you're like sealing their coffin.
And then, like, the barriers, like, this barrier's outside of the circle. Like, it's actually like a pretty cool system. It's like, this barrier's like the nails outside of your circle, so everything around you is a barrier, or the nails inside of it, and so everything like inside of here is a barrier. So like, she's inside of a barrier, so she can't be hit, while she makes the entirety of like the outside around Turbo Granny a barrier, so it can't leave the circle. And her just smoking Turbo Granny and being like, stand your ground, and just working her. Love that scene.
That was awesome.
Psycho's awesome.
This was definitely a setup episode. Which was a mild bummer, because episode 2 ends with such an awesome like cliffhanger of like, Ken's like finally taken over. But I assume next episode's gonna be pretty hype, if not the following.
I have a genuine question for you. So, as somebody who's read the manga, the first couple, I would identify, really, this is the first arc. This is the Turbo Granny arc. It's not its strongest arc by any means. And I say there's a lot of qualities of what's going to be in this Turbo Granny arc that make people it's a strong arc, and I love it. Like, it's funny. I love that, like, the vernacular is like recent, like it's like recent lingo. I love how Momo and Okarun interact. The art style is fucking bewitching. But like, how are you feeling about it 3 episodes in?
I'm seeing a bunch of comments of people being like, episode 1 ripped, 2 and 3 were ass though.
That's crazy.
Everyone needs to fucking like take their ADHD meds and like settle down. This is like, the pacing's going well for me. I think there's like plenty of exciting stuff happening. I don't know. I still haven't found it's like what the groove of it's going to be. It's like close to it, but like, I can't tell if it's going to be like, he takes full control of his demon form and they fight like other like sentient, like smart demon people. Are there going to be other people who are like, is it going to be more of like a JJK where it like Bleach is a good example. Where
Bleach is the prototypical, like, if you're talking about a JJK-ism, it's Bleach.
Well, it's like Bleach is a good example where the first chunk of Bleach
is versus Hollows.
They're fighting Hollows, which are like sentient, but they're monsters, and you're not gonna like find any in like a Bleach fighting game. And then it turns into like Ichigo's fighting other like humanoid antagonists that are like Ichigo adjacent. And I'm wondering if it's going to turn into that, or if it's going to keep being like big monster ghosts or like wild ghosts.
Yeah.
Demon Slayer is the same, where it's like random ass demons for the first season.
And then you work your way to like the dregs of
The
the upper
bosses,
moons.
the boss battles.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I'm wondering if they're gonna be like named boss battles in this, but episodes 1 through 3, like I think it's very well paced. I'm very excited about
Do you
it.
find yourself at all drawn to the romantic like aspects of this? Like, are you like kind of rooting for Okarun and Momo?
No, because of how sexualized she is. Like, anytime a character is like overtly sexualized, like out the wazoo, and like her design isn't. It's just she's like constantly put in these like sexual scenarios.
Yeah.
I'm not like, oh, like now I want him to bang her. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? Like I'd rather
Well, it
they
doesn't have to
stay
be,
friends.
you don't have to be like, I want her to fucking, I want her. Like, you just be like, oh, I hope they end up together.
I mean, she's also a dick to him.
It's not about fucking Dan. Sometimes
With
it's about,
this show, it is.
That's genuinely very fair.
Also, she's a fucking bitch to him. She's a fucking scoundrel, and I hate her. So no, I don't want them to get together.
Okay, so the reason I want to ask you that is because one of my notes is the show shows some of the qualities that make it so great, but not really until Ira's backstory does it make this IP truly shine. So Ira's character is going to show up in a couple of episodes, and there's like four protagonists in the story. It's like Momo, and then there's Okarun, and then there's two others basically. Ira is not my favorite character by any means, but her backstory is really, really cool. And it's like when she starts to get introduced, the scale of the world gets introduced. Like it's like you learn more about aliens, you learn more about
Is she
spirits.
gonna get introduced this season?
Yeah, oh for sure.
Oh, okay.
I'm only on chapter of my reread. I'm only on chapter I'm on chapter 26.1.
Oh, yeah.
And I've already been with her for like 8 or so chapters.
Gotcha,
So basically, she comes right after the Turbo Granny arc. And it's once you get her backstory, it's kind of like how everyone says in One Piece, once you get to Nami's backstory, that's where like it really starts to kick.
Right.
Like that's when they start to lean more into the Momo Okarun relationship.
Yeah.
And as somebody who hasn't really interacted with romance anime in a long time, this is going to be it's going to be weird for a lot of traditional, because it's being pitched as a traditional shonen. And in a sense, it kind of is. But I can't think of a shonen that's had like this, that's had so much romance baked into it and yet been so incredibly popular since like SAO.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. Like all the mainstream anime don't really, shonen anime.
Yeah.
Don't have romantic elements
There's
like
there's
Yuji
a romantic undertow that pays off in the end, right?
Yeah.
But it's like Ichigo or Hime, Naruto, Hinata. I don't want to say Goku and Chi-Chi because that's fucking even. They don't.
It's like no romance involved. Yeah.
He gets forced into a relationship.
Yeah, I mean, like Chainsaw Man, like hardly. It's like coming of age, but he's being manipulated and abused by all.
No,
the
that's
women
not
he
romance
knows.
at all.
No.
Like romance is definitely
That's the point.
Yeah, exactly. Like the point is that there is no
yeah.
romance. Genuinely, the
Yeah.
closest comparison is SAO.
Yeah,
because SAO, there's a relationship established 9 episodes in, and then a lot of the story revolves around their relationship.
Yeah.
It's Asuna and Kirito. And so I think this is going to be a weird shakeup for a lot of like traditional shonen readers because Momo and like Okarun's relationship does play a huge like pivotal point in like the movement and pacing of this story.
It's great though. I mean, like I don't know. It's one of the better things of this half of the year.
Oh, for sure.
First half of the year was so strong with JJK and like all that stuff. But
Solo
like
Leveling.
this is better than Solo Leveling.
Oh, for sure.
Better than My Hero. I'm enjoying it more than the season of My Hero.
That's fair.
So far. But yeah, we'll see the Turbo.
Could any of this have to do with your success of your reaction series?
No, actually.
No, of course that would.
You know what though? I will say if I'm adding a bias, the fact that I get to watch it in English helps.
Yeah, that's fair.
That helps a lot.
Instant dub is crazy.
Yeah.
Just like a system that needs to be enacted for everyone.
Instant dub is an instant dub.
Yeah. I mean, also it makes sense though, considering the fact that they're able to leak the first 6 episodes months before. Of course.
Yeah.
Like imagine just having your shit done in time. That's why it was able to be dubbed.
But yeah, it definitely feels like the Turbo Granny stuff is like the tutorial. I'm waiting to see like once they get that situated, what the like main groove of the show is.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of like Cone in Bleach, whose name I've remembered since last week. He's the little stuffed animal.
Oh, yeah.
Once you get Cone, then the story begins.
show begins,
Like,
yeah.
and that's the like once you get the fucking cat. Once you get the cat, that's when the story begins.
Got you. Nice.